The last example with a half angle identity is when we're solving an equation. So here I actually want to find what x equals from 0 to 2 pi. So I'm going to use the same strategy as I had before. I'm going to look for values that I know. I'm going to plug in an identity, and then I'm going to simplify. So right here, 2 times sine squared of x over 2 is equal to the cosine of x. This would be the same thing as me saying 2 times the sine of x over 2 squared. Some people like to rewrite it like that so they can see that half angle that's inside of there. So the half angle that we're going to use is we're going to use the one that we had on the previous page, the square root of 1 minus cosine of x all over 2. And this one I really don't need to worry about the plus or minus because I'm going to square it ultimately, and if I square something it's all going to become positive. So let's plug in what I know. 2, and then inside my parentheses I want to rewrite this sine of x over 2. So it's actually this piece I'm looking at. That's sine of x over 2. And sine of x over 2, if I look at it from this page, was 1 minus the cosine of u over 2. But since I'm in x's, I'm going to write it as 1 minus the cosine of x over 2, quantity squared, is equal to the cosine of x. Now this is really nice having a quantity squared because the square root and the square cancel each other out. So then I'm left with 2 times 1 minus the cosine of x over 2 is equal to the cosine of x. My 2's cancel out. 1 minus the cosine of x is equal to the cosine of x. Combine our like terms by bringing our cosine of x to the left-hand side. So 1 minus 2 cosine of x is equal to 0. And then let's get the cosine of x by itself. So we'll subtract 1 and then divide by 2. So the cosine of x is equal to 1/2. Now we're to the exact same place that we've been so many times in this chapter. To get x by itself when I've got a trig function, I'm going to take the inverse trig function to both sides. So x is equal to cosine inverse of 1/2. What two quadrants is cosine positive? It's going to be the first and the fourth quadrant. And the two angles that produce an x value of 1/2 are pi over 3 and 5 pi over 3. The last couple sections of this unit is just straight substitution. You do not need to memorize any formulas. You are just converting back and forth between formulas that are given to you. So in the first section here, we've got product to sum formulas. So I'm going to go from two quantities being multiplied, and they're going to go to either subtraction or addition. So here, we're going to rewrite the sine of 2x sine of x as a sum or difference. So I've got a sine of 2x and a sine of x, which when I look up here, where are two sine quantities being multiplied? And you see it right here. The sine of u times the sine of v is equal to 1/2 cosine of u minus v minus cosine of u plus v. So I'm going to let the sine of 2x be the sine of u, and the sine of x is going to be the sine of v. So I'm going to use the product to sum that are the two sines being multiplied. So sine of u times the sine of v is equal to 1/2 the cosine of u minus v minus the cosine of u plus v. So we know that u is equal to 2x and v is equal to x. So wherever I have a u, I'm going to put a 2x. Wherever I have a v, I'm going to put an x. So the cosine of 2x minus x minus the cosine of 2x plus x is going to give me 1/2 the cosine of x minus the cosine of 3x. So once again, this is just straight product to sum plugging into an equation. I'm not solving anything. I am just rewriting from something that originally was two terms being multiplied together as two terms either being added or subtracted from one another. So last one on this page, the cosine of 5x and the sine of 4x is a sum or difference. I'm going to look at the one that's cosine and then sine, which we have right here. Cosine and then sine. So u is going to be the 5x and v is going to be the 4x. So the cosine of u, sine of v, and I've got to have those in the correct order, is 1/2 sine of u plus v minus the sine of u minus v. And we know u is 5x, v is 4x. So 1/2 the sine of 5x plus 4x minus the sine of 5x minus 4x, which ends up being 1/2 the sine of 9x minus the sine of x. Cannot combine those. Those are not like terms. That 9x and x cannot be combined to the sine of 8x.